You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered. And this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't gonna be that fun. Okay, everybody, just a few minutes. It is Friday's Finest. It'll be with James. The day, folks, I'm just going to warn you ahead of time. Get ready. You New York folks, you New Jersey folks, get ready. James, our Dallas Texan by way of New Jersey is going to be fired up today because we've got New York stories all over the place. New York sports worth talking about. Yes, I know that is a little bit strange, but yes, we will talk about New York sports and all the hype going on. Now, a couple of teams are not really into hype. They're actually doing some stuff in the playoffs. But if we hear about anything, we'll have to hear about Jets, Jets, because now they've got, in my opinion, an old quarterback who ain't gonna do a whole lot. But anyway, that's my opinion. Feel free to go to the DougCollinsPodcast.com, hit that email button, and tell for all you Aaron Rodgers lovers who I like the guy. I think he's interesting. I think he's been a good quarterback. Do I think he's been the best quarterback in the past decade? No, I do not. But again, we'll deal with that as we go along. But also we got other things. For those of you down here in the South, I have a little lesson here for you as well. If you're in other parts of the country, you're still dealing with snow and all kinds of stuff. But for those of us down here in the South, we're dealing with a thing called Blackberry Winter. Some people don't understand that. I actually said that to someone the other day who had never heard of Blackberry Winter. They wasn't from the South. And that is whenever the blackberries start blooming down here, the briar patch starts blooming, we get about 10 days of below normal weather. It comes every April, sometimes as late as the 1st of May, sometimes, a little bit earlier in April, but we're in the middle of it right now. Cold. We were hot in February, medium in mid-March, and now we've turned off back to the 40s in the morning and 50s in the day with rain. It's just miserable. So for all of you, this is the Blackberry Winter version of Friday's Finest. We got lots to talk about today. Also, as a preview, I know the NFL draft is going on as we speak. Next week, Chan Gailey will be back with us to discuss it. And we'll get Chan's take on the draft. I want you to be a part of that. Got some other stuff pretty special coming up. But right now, as long awaited, it is time. It is Friday's Finest with James. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, you know about Legacy Precious Metals. Legacy Precious Metals, you hear from them. We talk once a month. We talk about Legacy Precious Metals, talking about precious metals being part of your portfolio, how they're your navigator. Well, now they're not only navigating in a new way, they're actually giving you a new way to buy gold and silver. In fact, Legacy Precious Metals has developed a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in real gold and silver online. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped to your door. I'm more of a ship to my door kind of person. I enjoy having them with me, but they can do it either way, and you can now do it online. It gives you real access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time, anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar. This puts you in complete control of your money. This platform is free to sign up for. Just visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and is against a volatile stock market. A true diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but a different asset class. This platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Remember, do as I have done. Go to legacypminvestments.com and get started today. And now you've got a new tool to help you along in your investments. Hey folks, MyPillow is excited to bring to you their biggest bedding sale ever. For a limited time, you're going to get the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98, a set of pillowcases for only $9.98, and rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. $99.99. Get a mattress, pillow topper. Look, they come in all sizes. They got all kinds of stuff, blankets. They've got duvets. They've got quilts. They got comforters. They got body pillows. They got bolster pillows. They got all at big, big discounts. And also, they're extending their money-back guarantee for Christmas until March 1, 2023, making them the perfect gift for your friends, your family, and for everyone you know. Folks, and just from a personal note here, I have the Giza Dream Sheets. They're on my bed right now. I slept on them last night. Some of the best sheets that we and Lisa and I have ever owned. They are worth, I mean, at this price, they're a steal. My wife and I have bought bed sheets, linens at much higher cost. It's supposedly much higher quality. These from MyPillow are at the highest of quality, and at a price like this, you can't beat it. So go now to mypillow.com, use promo code Collins, COLLINS, or call 1-800-986-3994, and you'll get huge discounts on all the MyPillow bedding products, including the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98, and get all your shopping done while qualities last. And remember, put in that promo code Collins for these discounts. All right, we're back. And James, I mean, we're going to kick off a New York edition here. It seems like of Friday's finest. I mean, what's going on in the area up there, the New Jersey, New York area that is just amazing right now?
The tri-state has lost its damn mind. They have absolutely lost their mind. I guess because I'm not from here, so I don't know what to compare it to. But when the Knicks are in the playoffs and they're winning,
yeah,
it's like the entire city and New Jersey, and I mean I know Connecticut counts as the tri-state, but nobody cares about Connecticut. But in all seriousness,
and for all of our listeners in Connecticut, please keep listening because James, that's an opinion of a New Jersey guy. Okay,
I apologize. It's just like, show up to the meetings every once in a while. So
yeah, come visit.
It's crazy. You can feel it. Like when I was working in New York every day, when the Knicks were winning or whatever, you could feel it. When the Yankees are winning, the Mets are winning, the Rangers and Devils have a series right now. That's going crazy. It's tied 2-2. Now you add on that Aaron Rodgers has officially been traded to the Jets. If he's not a game one in New York, somebody screwed up the tickets. Well, I don't know if you got to bump Spike Lee or somebody, but you got to put him in the front row. It is going to be insane the next few weeks. The Knicks are winning, the Rangers or the Devils are going to be winning. Aaron Rodgers is now in town. I'm telling you, there is nothing like it. I can feel it all the way from Dallas. The streets are literally buzzing, and people are telling me about it. They're like, man, if you were home right now, you'd be losing your mind.
Well, I will probably be back in New York, but it'll be another week or two, so we'll see if this actually lasts. But also, I have to say the Mets are only 3 games behind the Braves right now.
Listen, don't worry about it. The Mets are coming. After that absolute – I can't curse on this radio station, but I have some words for the umpires that like to prove that they're more important than the game.
Are we back to the sticky fingers again?
On national TV, they proved – live that his fingers could still be sticky from rosin after it's washed off. They proved it, and they still got him on a 10-game suspension. It's blasphemy. It's ridiculous, and I won't have it. We're already down Jason. We're already down Verlander, and our boy Edwin Diaz was down in the beginning of the season, so I don't want to hear it.
So we actually went and washed our hands to show that rosin is still okay. Well, why is he got rosin in his hands to start with?
He had to prove you're allowed to have rosin. They had to prove it, and it's ridiculous. The umps just want to make themselves. They're like, we'll get into this story, but they are they are peacocks. They need to show the world that they exist.
And umpires should be part of the field, but not seen on the field.
This is why they're talking about having robot umpires, and I'm for it if they're going to start making some absolutely bonehead decisions.
Well, who's going to check the gloves and the waistbands if you got a robot?
Yeah. Plus, he can't get yelled at. He probably could fight back, and then we'd have a problem. But I don't know. I just,
I mean, it is pretty amazing to me. I mean, I love my Mets fans, and James. Okay, I'm giving you some props here, but I mean, it really we're already blaming the umps for the Mets' probable second or third place finish in the East this year.
yes, we are. That's what we do. We're built for this. The Mets make excuses. The Yankees win championships. That is the motto of the Mets fan. But
we're Mets making every team successful, making every other team successful.
Yeah, I really still hate that very much, and I don't want to hear it. Oh man!
Oh my God, you gotta love. All right, well let's look. I've got an analogy. I thought about this when we're getting ready for this week's for Friday's Finest. So, you got the Knicks winning, winning their series, and they're setting up a series with the Heat. The Heat, Jimmy Butler goes nuts last two games, beats the Timberwolves. And, sets up this Heat Knicks, second round game here, I guess it is. Nobody would have expected that, but I'm going to go back a little bit further. Remember during the March Madness and in the first couple of weeks, we kept having Cinderellas. There's a lot of Cinderellas in the last in the March Madness this year. Yeah. Is this the year for the down and out teams to make a comeback?
Well, as a absolute diehard basketball fan who is a Nets fan and has to watch his team lose every year or do something stupid.
I was going to ask you about this Nets-Knicks thing with you. I mean,
it's not as much as a rivalry as you think, but it is enough where I hate the Knicks. I do hate them, and to see them winning is very upsetting.
You have this thing for the boroughs. Is that it? I mean, you're a Brooklyn Queens guy.
So okay. The reason I'm a Mets fan is because I have some of my family members are Mets fans, and those were the cheaper tickets, so we could go buy them and you could sit there. That I understand. The Nets used to be in New Jersey, so I used to go to those games too. And when they moved from Jersey to Brooklyn, I stayed with them. Here's the thing. That rivalry is ridiculous. But as far as the March Madness thing goes, there are so many injuries this postseason that things have gone crazy and games have decided early. Like in the Heat Milwaukee series, the Milwaukee's best player Giannis went down with a back injury, and that team just never recovered from whatever. I guess he wasn't at his best, and it didn't help the team. And Jimmy Butler is a psychopath, and I think he has cracked the code for winning in the playoffs, which is during the regular season, play as many games as possible, but don't overextend yourself, and then show up in April. He is literally Mr. April. This guy shows up and I think he's averaging 35 points a game. That is an absurd number. He's doing everything humanly possible. He's a testament to will, and that team is missing guys, and he's still balling out with them.
It is. Now, I want to go back on something. Now, and correct me, because I basically turned off the NBA I watch it occasionally, but to me, it's just over the past 20 years, it's become rugby on a hard court. And it is. But wasn't Butler one of the big three that remember in the day? And I think I'm right about this.
He wasn't with the big three in Miami.
So he came in later.
Yeah, he came in way after. He came in 2019. Okay.
I
think, or 2020. Yeah, so he came in after Dwayne Wade retired, and
so it's Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and
Chris Bosh.
Chris Bosh. Yeah. That's it, Chris Bosh.
Yeah, that was the time because again, I'm in a super huge basketball fan for my entire life. That squad was insane, and watching those playoff games and those finals, I'm telling you, Miami, New York, we could talk about, there's a lot of good series. Miami, New York is going to be just watching you don't have to watch the games. Just watch the crowds. The New York, the Garden, and I think it's American Airlines, I could be wrong, for Miami. Those crowds are absolutely insane. There's going to be blood. There's going to be sweat. There's going to be tears. People are going to be upset. The news is going to be crazy. Stephen A is going to be yelling about something. And it's going to be unbelievable. I'm telling you, that series is going to be crazy.
Well, that is going to be true. I mean, I would hate to be around Penn Station in the Garden during that time.
Don't wear a Heat jersey. That's all I'm saying. Don't get
don't
don't get caught on the subway wearing a Jimmy Butler jersey. You're going to be pushed out of that place.
Yeah, well, and that's just becoming true and everything else. All right, let's turn to the other. I mean, we mentioned Stephen A, and then you got Greeny though, who has been going absolutely nuts over this Aaron Rodgers. And I can't next week, folks, go ahead and tell you, Chan Gailey, coach, is going to be on next week. We're going to discuss this. I made my feelings known. I talked about it in the pregame, in the pre-show here, and I talked about it now. I think Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback. I think he is way above average. I don't see him as great. And I know I get a lot of pushback from people about this, and maybe we'll just say he didn't have the tools. Green Bay didn't give him the resources, whatever it is. But it is amazing to me, and you help me out because you're the New Yorker here. The Jets issue. Is it that the Jets are just so desperate for anything that they're willing to take a mirage and say it's going to become reality? I mean, Greenberg, they're carrying him around the studio this week on Get Up and everything. And it's like, really?
Doug, did you see Zach Wilson play last year?
Yeah. So did
All
every
right.
other.
Well, then
every
my
other
answer is going to be, okay, so we have differing opinions. We have differing opinions on Aaron Rodgers because he has destroyed my heart more times than I can count.
Yeah, I mean, you're just glad to get rid of him.
He's unhappy. It really brings me joy. But let me ask you something. Do you think Dan Marino's a great player?
Great.
You've watched Dan Marino play football.
I think is he a Hall of Famer? Yes. I mean, if that determines
so
great.
Are you saying that not having a bunch of rings is what's stopping him from being great? Only reason I'm asking.
Not going to say. I'm going to say maybe because.
Okay.
And hear me out here. But does that think that I think Charles Barkley or Allen Iverson were less players because they didn't have a ring? No, but do you? Okay, let's flip this around. All right, take the ring scenario here, and this is going to be an interesting scenario. Take away 6. I mean, I'm having to choke on this a little bit. Take away 6 rings from Tom Brady. Leave him with 1. Is he a Hall of Fame quarterback?
With all of his numbers, 100%.
You think so? Even if they
Absolutely.
only won.
With those numbers, you're not getting rid of everything else. You are just getting rid of 6 championships.
Just his play over 20 years.
Multiple MVP awards, multiple record-breaking seasons, and 1 championship, which is technically what Aaron Rodgers has done.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Statistically, easily top 5 of attempts, completions, yardage, everything in the last, I think, 7 years is Matt Ryan.
Okay.
Derek Carr. Are they Hall of Fame quarterbacks?
Well, Derek Carr might be a different. I personally believe Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer. Now, hear me out.
Okay.
And here's why. He brought his team to a championship. I know they lost that. If they have that championship, he waltzes in the Hall of Fame. It's the same thing with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford wasn't going to the Hall of Fame, whether we believed it or not, stats-wise. But once he won that, I think winning that ring, he's gonna get in now. Eli Manning, with his 2 rings, has probably going to get in the Hall of Fame because it's New York and it's a whole thing.
Okay, now there's your different one. Let's take Eli Manning. Is it the 2 rings that put Eli Manning in the Hall of Fame?
Eli Manning's 2 rings are going to vault him in. But if Eli Manning were to have Aaron Rodgers' career, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. And probably waltzing in as well. Aaron Rodgers has 4 MVP awards. He has dominated his division, and he also owns the city of Chicago.
But did he really – I get
And
maybe
he
like,
comes up
I
short.
get it.
I agree. He has come up short many times.
But how many
But I
times?
get
I
it.
mean,
He
there
does
could
have
be
a
an
ring.
argument made on the MVPs. Okay, I mean, think about some of the people who've been named MVPs. All right, I mean, and granted, he got it 4 times. I
Four
get
of
it.
them.
I said, I mean, look, I think he's a
Listen,
great
we
guy.
can
I
disagree on
gained a
this.
lot of respect for him over the last few years when he was really taking a beating from media about the vaccine stuff, and when you heard his side of the story, which has never been contradicted by the reporters who were trashing him, you know, that
Right.
he did say what he actually did. He didn't lie about it. I mean, he wasn't probably as open and as transparent as everybody wanted him to be, but he wasn't lying about it.
He is.
Yeah.
We can't. I don't care about anything in your personal life unless you're a murderer. Okay.
Okay, well,
Everything
I'll
else.
draw a
If
big
you,
distinction. I would care about some other things, but okay, I get
no,
your
but
point.
I'm just saying. Like, I guess my point is that yes, we totally understand. Ray Rice doesn't deserve to play football again because he's a monster. But when
Well,
you're
if you
just
talk
like
to-
a when you're a weirdo outside of work, like Aaron Rodgers is, going on darkness retreats and being vague about the vaccine and what is this, that, and the other thing. You don't have to like someone's personality. Terrell Owens as a person would be a nightmare to be around, I imagine. Okay? Well, especially when he was playing. Maybe he's a good guy. Maybe he's better now. But he seemed like a nightmare to be around. His emotions were all over the place. But on the field, you're like, he didn't do anything drastic enough for you to, like, I don't want him, And by the way, the NFL writers and the people who voted punished him by making him a second ballot Hall of Famer because that is insane. Because Terrell Owens should have waltzed into the Hall of Fame. He was that good.
Well, we're getting it, and especially
we're getting away from it, but yes.
But
I'm just
the
saying.
NFL's Hall of Fame is a little bit different than, say, the baseball Hall of Fame. But
very worse.
Until the baseball Hall of Famers, and I mean this with all sincerity, and you can get mad at me, you can yell, you can scream, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. Until the baseball Hall of Fame puts Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
Agreed.
It's a joke.
Listen, he didn't cheat. He never cheated. He broke rules, and he shouldn't be. If you want to ban him from the game, that's fine. If that's what the man has, you please Google his stat line, and then watch highlights. His nickname was quite literally Charlie Hustle.
Yep.
There was a reason, and those teams were unbeatable. He was unreal, and you're gonna. It's correct. You cannot ignore that he gambled when he shouldn't have. We all know. But he never cheated the game, and he played his heart out every time.
Team. It was, I mean, it's just, look, I mean, it's just a joke. And I think I saw a guy last weekend at a conference I was at, and he had a old Cincinnati hat, on the side had a Big Red Machine, and we got to talking. I said, look, I don't know whatever happened to the Big Red Machine. That was when I was growing up. The 70s, 80s, I was in Little League Baseball. I mean, all of this going on. Pete Rose, Willie Stargell. I mean, you had Carlton Fisk. You had, all those players up there. Dale Murphy down in my part of the world, Bob Horner. I mean, that's who you looked up to. The J.R. Richards pitching in Houston. I mean, they were just named, and to see this happen is just sad. And like I told him, I said, I don't think Cincinnati. I think what is it? The goat curse that was in Chicago. I think
in Detroit they had the goat curse.
Well, goat curse. You had Chicago. You had the one. You had the Bambino up in Boston. Until I think baseball makes it right with Pete Rose, the Cincinnati Reds will not win another thing.
Can I say something though, just real quick? It's on the topic, but I just remember this. So I guess when they were debating reinstating him or something along those lines, like maybe it was 8 years ago. It wasn't that long ago, right?
Right.
Where it was a big debate, and all I could think was he put himself in the worst possible position. I think he lives in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Which couldn't be a worse place for somebody who's supposedly a gambler. And he did his interview on the outdoors. He did his press conference on the outside in Las Vegas talking about how he doesn't have a gambling addiction. I couldn't stop. It was horrible that I was laughing at it because maybe he does have an addiction. That's terrible. But I just remember being like, you could not have made a worse setting for yourself post finding out that you're not allowed back in the Hall of Fame by being like, I don't have an addiction. I just live in Las Vegas on the Strip.
Yeah, I like to go play golf. Yeah. It's like, yeah, right.
But anyway.
I get it. Hey, Stephen A. Speaking of Stephen A. Stephen A. is a big Knicks guy.
Yeah, he's also lost his collective mind.
I mean, the next week is going to be real. I mean, look, I don't understand. Okay, here's the mystery of life. And since you're the young millennial, elder, I'm going to call you elder millennial. The elder millennial. Anyway, explain to me the mornings on ESPN. I used to get up when I was, I watched TV, and it was Sports Center from 6 a.m. till like 11 a.m. Every hour they just run Sports Center again. So if you miss a little bit, you can always pick it up.
Airwaves. Absolutely.
Now they do this. They move them to ESPN2 or whatever. And I watched this about 2 weeks ago. I was having to do some stuff at the house. I wasn't feeling good. And I had the TV on, and I was trying to watch talking about something in sports. So I watched the Get Up show with Greenberg, which I always like.
Yeah, that whole group, guys. Yeah, they have.
I always liked him better with Golick. Okay.
Those times have passed.
Yeah, and I think, if from what I can understand about that, also Golick, got the short end of the stick on that one. Anyway, may or may not. Anyway, but then there's the other one that has Keyshawn.
That show's not good.
Okay, now there's the Get Up
Keyshawn,
one, and then there's the other one.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Max.
Okay, is that the other one on ESPN?
So he used to be
in First Take.
Max Kellerman used to do First Take. And basically Stephen A. Smith was like, I just can't do this anymore. He doesn't hate Max. It's not they're not compatible. And honestly, Max Kellerman, it's unfortunate, but like people really do just hate him. And I don't think he's the most likable person on the planet. And I also think some of his takes are similar to Skip Bayless in the sense that they're kind of just all over the place and for ratings. And I think people feel the phoniness from him. But that's not the point. He's a great at talking about boxing and certain other things.
Yeah, well, but my question is, and maybe I'm missing this, but whatever the shows are on ESPN that they move to it, the Get Up, and then you got First Take. They were showing some of the same people.
Yeah, they bring the same people on always. At
the same times, it's looked like, and I couldn't tell which one was being shot live and which one was being taped.
So if you're watching, so when
I'm confused here.
No, this is what ESPN does because I think ESPN is losing to the fact that everyone has podcasts now. But First Take is from 10 to 12, and what do you call it? Get Up is from, I think, 8 to 10. So then they move Get Up to ESPN2, and First Take is on ESPN. So they're playing both at the same time.
Okay.
That clears it up. Yes, I totally. One is early in the morning, then the next one, and then they move one, and they're playing at the same time.
And like you'll have Stephen A. on there, and you'll have some of the others. I mean, they sort of go back.
And then you're like, why is Stephen A. on both of these? Yes.
Now Michael Irvin is on which one?
He does First Take a lot.
Yeah, he does First Take. Him and Stephen A. go at it all the time.
Listen, Stephen A. There are certain people that come along. Like I think a good example is Kevin Hart. Where Kevin Hart came onto the scene in America, and we just got like 5 years of just him in everything you could think of.
Yeah.
And it was totally overdone, and we crashed and burned out. He's still great. He does a million things, but it was a lot. And the American people were like, okay, Kevin, we love you, but that's enough. The fact that ESPN doesn't see that with Stephen A. Smith, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's entertainment. Absolutely.
He is entertainment.
But he can't be in everything. it's too much. He's literally in everything. He's on at night in the basketball world. He had his own Sports Center in Stephen A's world. He's got First Take. He's on Get Up. It's impressive by him to just be around it, but it is a lot, and I don't know how he does it. But to come back to the original point of all this, Stephen A. Smith and the Knicks, you want to watch entertainment. This man's going to lose his mind the next few weeks.
Well, it's going to be wild. So we'll keep up with it here on Friday's Finest. I want to switch gears, though, James. I need to touch on something that was that really I'm like, okay, this one set me back a little bit. Nikki, we're going to go political here for a second, but only for just a minute on Friday's Finest, and that is Nikki Haley's absolute looking like train wreck of a run for president right now. She's been out there. She's running. She's not raised a lot of money. She, in fact, sort of hedged on did funny math to get how much she raised in the first quarter. And, I mean, just yesterday was quoted, and I'm going to read you the quote. It was said, he announced he's running. He's talking about Joe Biden. She's talking about Joe Biden. He announced he's running again in 2024. I think we can all be very clear and say, with a matter of fact, that if you vote for Joe Biden, you really are counting on President Harris, because the idea that he would make it till 86 years old is not something that I think is likely.
What? Yeah, wait a minute. She just said he's going to die?
Die in 5 years.
You know, again, and this will always be my take on this show, is I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. There are things you're just not allowed to say.
You're like, what? I mean, yesterday.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, there's just some things, it's like, I just don't think I'd have said that, and if she said
I don't think anyone should say that. Donald Trump wouldn't say that. That man said some things that you would lose your mind over.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, she's already said, about a competency test and everything. Well, she went to war with DeSantis, earlier this week, talking about South Carolina ought to take Disney and all this kind of crap. But look, for a Friday's Finest, that had to make it. I mean, when you're actually saying, he's going to die within 5 years. I mean, there is publicity, and then there's.
If you vote for Biden, you're going to put him in a coffin. Like, what is wrong with you? You know what? This is why politics are disgusting sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah. Literally,
yep.
Okay, this is for the crowd for a second, but Doug, have you watched the show Succession?
No, I have not. Now, I've been told I should. But
it doesn't matter. It is amazing. It's unbelievable. It's kind of based on the Murdoch family. It doesn't matter. There's a character in there. He's one of the kids of the family, and this is not going to spoil anything. But his character is running for office and something, and to get him in the spotlight, he decides he needs to have a big wedding.
Yeah.
Like for no reason. She's like, we need to have a band and all this stuff. That is what she is. She's just like, I need to say something to keep myself in the race because I'm polling at probably like 0.1. And she goes, you know what? If I say the president's going to die, I'm sure I'll get something. Sure enough.
Somebody interview me on this one.
Somebody's going to interview me about it. And then she's going to probably say something, and I didn't read more on it because I don't care. But it's probably going to say something along the lines of like, well, I didn't mean he's definitely, but you could see someone that age not making it. It's kind of crazy. Like, okay.
Yeah, now, and speaking on the other side of political crazy, Joe Biden again, I guess Nikki Haley would say this is proof that he is, going to die within 5 years. Which, by the way, nobody on the Doug Collins podcast or associated with the Doug Collins podcast endorses the remarks by Nikki Haley.
No, we do not.
In no way. But Joe Biden got called again. I don't know about you, James, we're not. This is not. We could. What was that that they have on the Dan Patrick show? Going to the box and confess, the confession box. Well,
that's right.
How many of you have ever cheated on a test? Okay. Well,
so many times.
Well, yeah, okay. I have. I didn't mean it. Well, I meant to because I did bring this. Anyway, bottom line. This man is having trouble getting through interviews, and he was caught this week with a cheat sheet. And it's one thing, he's done this before where he said, they've told me who to call on. Okay, which again is just so wrong in and of itself. But it just shows that Joe Biden has absolutely no filter between his brain and his mouth. Hasn't for years. But yesterday, a couple of days ago, or this week, they had a picture of him. The photographers got the picture. He was not only given the reporter to call, but the question they were going to ask.
Doug, why not just be honest about it? I guess I don't understand. Like, we're all well aware that he is like having trouble. It would be crazy for us to think he doesn't. If you see the way he talks sometimes and the way, of course, he has a cheat sheet. I don't know. Why would you why hide it? Just be like, some of these questions.
I think we've talked about it before here on the show.
We're not going to impeach you for this. It's impossible. You know how long the impeachment process is? We're not going to impeach you because you can't remember something. It's not going to happen, whether we go through with it or not. Yeah, just come out with it. It's crazy.
They just don't do it, and so they keep these, keep it going, and it's just ridiculous as it goes.
That's wild.
But this is what we're facing. Gonna get we got, as I said you on the podcast the other day, we got 19 more months of this stuff, and these are the kind of gaffes. If you remember from the podcast, folks, you're on Friday's Finest. Go back and check Wednesday's podcast out. One of the things I said, James, you remember this? I said gaffes will be a part of this, and this is the kind of stuff that feeds the narrative that Joe Biden is just being handled and not making any decisions. Agree with it, disagree with it.
Feeding into it.
Yeah, just whatever you want to do it. All right, well, that's all the political I'm going to get into today. We got more time to talk
stuff.
Yeah, we're going to get into more pertinent stuff here as we go. There was and you're going to be shocked at me, James. We've not discussed UFOs, which, by the way, there's a big hearing about in D.C. We're going to get to it maybe next week.
I can't wait.
Friday's Finest. But a rare fireball flew over Maine, and now they're asking. There's a $25,000 reward for pieces of the space rock.
I wouldn't go look for that.
Yeah, this is
it's not a space rocket; it's a ship. You're going to go disappearing. That's for sure.
Yeah, it could be a problem there.
Listen,
but anyway,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, for side hustles, there's about a mile-wide strong field stretches from just north of Waite, Maine, to Canoe.
How much are they offering?
$25,000.
$25,000 for a piece?
That's what it looks like.
They're not going to give you that money. They're going to put you away somewhere. Don't go look for that.
Oh, here it is.
They're offering $25,000.
Here it is. The museum, which is the home of the world's largest specimen of for the moon and Mars, is offering $25,000 for the first kilogram of meteorite found, but is willing to purchase other fragments too.
Oh, whoa! First red flag. Museums only take donations. You don't do it. They're coming for you. If you find one of those fragments, you're going to end up on a Netflix documentary about people who went looking for the missing pieces in Maine. That is, get out now. If you're in Maine, leave.
All right, everybody. James is warning you: do not go looking for the meteorite in Maine.
Do not. Donations. Museums do not pay for things. This is all going in the wrong direction. Yeah, no, but that would be pretty amazing if he found a piece, like literally spent an hour looking for something and got $25,000 out of it. Yeah, that's a hell of a day.
Yeah. That's where we look at. Well, let's keep on going because we're on our New York theme. We're getting this New York vibe going. We've talked about sports in New York. We've talked about everything else in New York. Now we're going to talk about something more closer to realistic New York. A Russian woman living in New York City was sentenced to 21 years in jail for poisoning her similar-looking doppelganger friend with a sedative-laced cheesecake and then stealing her identification and valuables. She didn't want to go back to Russia.
That's just a former KGB agent that's been stuck here too long.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That is New York, though. That is somebody will steal your identity and run away. That's she literally befriended this person for that reason.
Exactly. Well,
however this happened, that's wild.
Let's see. Prosecutors argue that Nasarova had poisoned her friend in order to steal her identity so she wouldn't have to return to Russia, where she is, get this, wanted for murder in 2014.
Well, this is why we got to start vetting people.
Why has she not been deported to start with?
How did we just find this? But you know what though? Like, I mean, what's to stop some? Okay, let's say she got away with murder in Russia, and they are just finding out a year later. Like, what's to stop somebody from getting on a plane and coming here? That I could just take a trip to Korea, not North Korea, but South Korea, and then I can sneak over the border and disappear. You know, nobody will know.
Yep. And this is the same MO. This is the crazy part about it. She's accused of the same MO in Russia, but how she got here, I have no idea. But
how is she finding all these people that look like her? If you look like this woman, run.
Run quickly, because but also it goes to show you that for all the folks who worry about our southern border, which is terrible and it is broken and it is open, our regular immigration system is also messed up too. Okay, let's just face it. A lot of issues here is going on. So we have Aaron Rodgers coming. Hopefully, according to James, will be seated in the Garden in the front row for the Knicks Heat matchup. You got Devil Rays and the Rangers locked in a battle. You've got you got the Mets decently playing. And now we also have in New York doppelganger murders and other things. We got two more issues today, though, that sort of will end up Friday's Finest. One, Friday's Finest pays homage to Jerry Springer.
Oof.
Jerry Springer passed away this week of cancer. 79 years old. Jerry Springer died. From my generation especially, Jerry Springer, I remember, people saying, if something goes really weird in your family, you're going to end up on Jerry Springer.
That's right.
Because, Jerry Springer, the home of the show where the dad and the son were brothers and father and son at the same time. The original Maury Povich, we're going to do the DNA testing. I mean, Springer had the craziest stuff. He was also, frankly, people didn't know, mayor of Cincinnati. Did you know that?
That's right. That's right.
Yep, mayor of Cincinnati. God bless Jerry Springer. Without Jerry Springer, Maury Povich would have never had a job for the most part. And also Friday's Finest would be the lesser for all of the craziness that we see in the world. So, if your family was not crazy enough to make it on Jerry Springer, you took that as a sign of honor. If they made it on to Jerry Springer, as I had a family down here in Georgia make it on, they took it as a badge of honor that they made it on Jerry Springer.
Yeah, listen, man. I remember like if I was sick from school, and that channel, my dad used to watch the news on that channel, and then he would go, get ready for work or whatever. If we were sick. Me and my brother would like try to be sick together to watch it sometimes. Because our parents were not just letting us watch that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something you let your kids watch just naturally. So we had to like hide it and sneak it. And it was worth every second we got from it. People throwing bodies. It was the craziest. It ended up in an Austin Powers movie. It was. Oh, yeah. That man was absolute pop culture at its finest.
Oh, you better believe it. Epitomized it in most ways.
Absolutely.
All right, and now we're going to have to come up with a special music segment for when we do what we do next, and that is a zoo segment. But we got to end in New York. Another zoo segment, although Dallas. By the way, I do have a longtime listener of the Doug Collins podcast. Mark sends his respects along to James, and so James, you got a fan in Mark.
Mark. Thanks for being. Now I know I literally have a number one fan and my only fan.
You got a number one fan, so he's out
also,
there.
Are we the leading podcast that's not a zoologist podcast that talks about zoos?
I think we are. I think we
have to be in the top 10 for a group of people that talk about zoos who have absolutely no expertise in that area whatsoever.
Look, Salem does not understand the genius they have on Friday's Finest.
Yeah, it's the zoo segment. we gotta find. I'm gonna find something to make these zoo segments worth it.
Yeah, these zoo segments are amazing, and this one today is actually really good. Oh, and there's all kinds of, and I'm finding this out. The New York Post now has actually a segment on the Bronx Zoo. But here's what we have today. A peacock more than ruffled feathers while roaming wild in the Bronx. Okay. Just the Bronx and a peacock get me here. Okay. You know, he's turned very vicious and biting a bewildered onlooker who thought he was the one flying high. It bit me, said the victim, who only gave his name as Mike, while recalling how he thought he was bugging when he first saw the foul attacker strutting at West Farm Street just before 8 p.m. Wednesday. The peacock, a likely escapee from, here you got it, the Bronx Zoo, who has now been nicknamed Raoul, remained on the lam early Thursday, hiding up in a tree in the Crystal Community Gardens on East 180th. After an all-night stand-up. And I kid you not, they put out an alert on the Citizens app that said dispatchers state the peacock was vicious.
That's how you know he's from New York. Listen, the animals in New York aren't normal. And if you've been locked up for whatever amount of time, now he's loose running through New York City, somebody's going to try to come at him? No, he's coming first. That's how it is in New York.
You coming at me. But the crazy part is the guy he bit. I mean, he goes on in this story. He said, I thought I was bugging. I was like, yo. And then he uses an superlative we can't use
that
here.
That guy was probably stoned out of his mind. And he starts walking through New York City, and he's looking left and right like, is everybody else seeing this peacock too? And then he gets attacked. You want to know what the best part about it is? You know everybody in New York City just kept walking. They didn't even look twice. They were like, yeah, that makes sense. And they just kept pushing. Because nobody in New York's batting an eye if somebody gets attacked by a peacock.
And the guy who was too high was the only one who thought it was strange.
Oh, man. What a time.
Oh, you got to love it.
No, first of all, we really got to figure out this zoo thing. We can't – I think about this pretty often. But, if somebody wanted to be crazy – and just release animals from the zoo, I don't think there's enough security. New York City would be under siege.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's a crazy thought to have, and that's way too much, but I'm just thinking, if we let a peacock out and it attacked a person, because they've been through listen, people from New York go to the Bronx Zoo. They've met the people in New York, and they're like, oh, I have to attack someone, because this is the way New York is. Yeah. You got to be tough to live out here.
Well, just last November, okay, another zoo story here out of the Bronx Zoo. Breaking news out of the Bronx Zoo. This was last November. A visitor at the Bronx Zoo busted into the deer enclosure before being removed by security. The breach in the exhibit under the zoo's monorail happened shortly before noon. The man, described as the police as emotionally disturbed, was removed without incident and did not come into contact with any of the animals. He was taken to St. Barnabas for evaluation. The zoo has maintained a herd of rare Pierre David deer since 1946. And this was the zoo spokesman woman confirmed the incident, adding, "It's an extremely dangerous criminal matter to trespass at the zoo."
That's just.
With that, folks, here's your warning from Doug and from James. It's an extremely serious matter to trespass at the Bronx Zoo. And with that, we come to the conclusion of another Friday's Finest. God bless you. Have a great one. James, say goodbye.
Take care, everybody. And avoid Maine, or you will disappear.
And we're out of here. We'll see you next time on the Doug Collins Podcast.